In today's episode of the Buzby Dog Podcast, we're going to cover 5 easy ways to coerce your dog to take medications, inspired by my own recent personal experience. I'm blessed to have 3 healthy mutts who I don't have to medicate often. But as I pried my dog's jaws open to give him an antibiotic recently, and there was no way he was taking that willingly, I realized that as a vet, prescribing the appropriate medication for your dog is only half the battle. What about you? Standing in the kitchen, holding a pill, looking at your dog while your dog looks back at you, both of you wondering who's gonna win? The answer, my friend, is you. So here are a few of my favorite tips, tricks, and techniques for getting your dog to take his medication. Number 1, the bribe. If your dog is food motivated, this technique is the obvious choice. You can hide the pill in a variety of things, such as a dab of low-fat peanut butter. Please make sure that xylitol is not on the ingredient list. Xylitol has become a common sweetener in peanut butter and other things, but it's highly toxic to dogs. I also prefer chunky peanut butter because it's easier to disguise the texture of a pill among the chunks. Additionally, you can use plain low-fat yogurt, a cube of boneless chicken breast, liverwurst, hot dog pieces if they're good quality, pill pockets. This is a brilliant invention. It's like a chewy dog treat with a hole inside for the pill or capsule. So you insert the medication into the pocket and then you press the moldable treat around the pill to hide the evidence. And dogs generally love them. The downside is that they're not cheap and they're not something you would just normally have handy in your kitchen. They're sold through veterinarians and pet supply stores. Okay, our veterinary mantra is above all, do no harm. And I say that because I left cheese, cream cheese, and ice cream off my recommended list of things you can hide pills in. This is on purpose because I don't want to take the risk of triggering pancreatitis through rich foods. Pancreatitis is a painful, serious inflammatory condition of the pancreas, which can be caused by dogs eating high-fat foods, among other things. My personal bribe that I enjoy giving my dog, and I think he enjoys it too, is using little marshmallows or mini marshmallows, depending on your dog's size. I don't worry about them causing pancreatitis, and it's a fun, inexpensive, low-calorie treat. So that's just the standard bribe. Now, for dogs who are tempted by the bribe, but they're too smart for their own good, we employ the bait and switch. This technique becomes second nature to most veterinarians who have learned the hard way after scraping saliva-covered, half-dissolved pills off the floor when the dog spits them out, that it's very, very important to have success on the first try. Trust me, round 2 in the attempt to pill your dog is 10 times harder than round 1 because of the state of the pill. So the pill becomes not a nice little intact dry pill, and the heightened state of your dog's radar. So, unless I know the dog will basically eat anything and I can just go with the bribe, I always administer pills in this fashion. This is the bait and switch. Number 1, hide the pills in treats or food. The pill in your treat. So you set it up kind of like you would the bribe, but here's the thing. You're just a little more vigilant and a little more strategic. After that, I wash my hands. And seriously, it's amazing how you can ruin the whole process by having the smell of medication on your hands. Remember, a dog's sense of smell is like 1,000 times better than yours. Okay, then you get 2 more of the treats or food, whatever you hid that pill in. So for example, if I'm using pieces of chicken breast, when I'm ready to give the pill, I approach the dog with 3 pieces. 2 have nothing in them, and 1 has the pill in it, and I also approach the dog with a happy, innocent look. Okay, that matters. The dog can read you like a book. So first I give the treat without a pill in it. That's the bait. Then I give the second treat with the pill in it. That's the switch. And then I give the third treat without a pill in it as the chaser, and that's the happy ending. And that is my standard fare for giving dogs medication, the bait and switch. But occasionally we have to up the ante, and so we employ what I call the trick and treat. If the bait and switch has run its course and your dog has become wise to your antics, or your dog was too smart and he never fell for it in the first place, To have success medicating these dogs, we must employ mind games. It's scary when our dogs are smarter than us. All right, I do not recommend letting these very smart dogs even see you preparing the medication prior to administration. So the dog's got to be out of the room, and you're going to take the pills in the treats while your dog is occupied elsewhere. So you're going to put the pill in the whatever you choose to use, but don't let your dog see the medication bottle even being out or hear it being handled. Remember, throughout history, the element of surprise is a great tactic. Okay, then you go back and wash your hands after working with the pills, that critical step. Now, this is why we call it the trick and treat. Our goal here is to make our dog feel that the treat with the pill in it is an earned reward and nothing to be suspicious of. So there's a few ways we can do this. You can ask your dog to perform a trick or two for which he typically earns a treat, and he's expecting that. So we've put him in the mindset to expect or ask for the medication-laced treat. And so you're going to give the spike treats after he's earned them, ideally in the bait and switch sequence as his reward. It is key that the dog swallow the treat rapidly without taking time to chew. If your dog bites into the pill, certain medications like tramadol, for example, or metronidazole, these are commonly prescribed medications, are so bitter that your dog might even foam at the mouth. So to avoid this, you want him to just get them down quickly without thinking about it. You could even try tossing the treats to a dog who knows how to catch treats and do it bait and switch style. You know, no pill in the treat first, then the trick or the one with the pill, and then the chaser. So you end on a happy note. So you're going to speak to your dog in kind of a happy, excited voice and build anticipation for the treats and either toss them or administer them in some way, and he's just eagerly snatching them up and looking for more. That's the goal. All right. Along with this technique, there's another way we can use it. Dogs, just like us, are tempted by the forbidden. So feeding your dog his disguised medication from a spoon or even off your own plate, strategically placed on the floor immediately after a meal, can yield uncanny success. So picture this. You've got the pill-laced treat on your table at dinner, and you finish your meal, and you've got a little bit of something that won't harm your dog, hopefully not much of anything, maybe a couple vegetables, on your plate, and you also place the pill in its little disguise on the plate, and then you say, "Good boy, do you want a treat?" And you put it down on the floor. The dog is not expecting, hey, it's pill time, and you're going to take this torturous pill, and he's on it. So dogs read us like an open book. If you approach the process looking guilty or even feeling guilty about it, your dog will be suspicious. Project confidence, joy, and fun in the pilling process, and your dog will be more likely to trust you in the process. And listen, I am all for honesty in life. I am not one to deceive anybody, really including the dogs, but we've got to look at the dog's best interest here. And if your dog needs medication, you're going to have to be creative about getting it in if your dog is not cooperative. So I look at this more as creativity and less as deception. And you can give your dog a few good pats and ask for forgiveness afterwards. All right, and number 4 is jaws. Jaws. Now, here's the disclaimer. Do not attempt this technique if you cannot utter these words with confidence. Under no circumstance would my dog ever attempt to bite me. So this was the technique that I used on my dog when I was trying to give him the antibiotic, and we're actually videoing this podcast. You can go check it out on our YouTube channel, ToeGrips, if you're interested in seeing it. But what I do for this technique, and everybody should practice opening their dog's mouth. This is really, really important. Your dog needs to be comfortable having his mouth handled, both in case you need to give him medication, for the veterinarian who has to examine the mouth in a physical exam, and if you would ever have to get in the mouth to look at gum color, and ideally you would be brushing your dog's teeth every day. So this is something you should be really comfortable with. So I'm holding the dog's chin in one hand, and this, my little red hound who's sitting here next to me is half asleep, just happily letting me pet his head. So I'm just getting him comfortable with the whole process. And then I'm going to take my thumb and index finger of my non-dominant hand, because I'm going to keep my dominant hand available to put the pill in the back of the throat, and I'm going to gently lift up the lip right by the canine teeth, the big fang teeth. And behind the canine teeth, there's a gap where there are no teeth, and that's where you want to put your fingers and hold to lift up the upper jaw. So I am inserting my fingers right here behind the big canine fang teeth, and I grasp that. I'm going to gently lift that upwards, and I'm going to put my thumb in the front of the mouth. And I actually just, sometimes if a dog's clamping his mouth shut, I just hook my thumbnail on the lower incisors, the lower front teeth, and I can pull apart. Once I start to get them apart, then I can put my hand in and do whatever I need to do. And my dog's really comfortable having his mouth handled. We do this all the time, but you need to be at this level of comfort. Yeah, they have a short attention span. You can't expect to do it forever, but you'll get faster and faster and better at getting through the process. So that's the jaws. This is little Jake the Hound, but Luke is a big pit bull mix who I was giving the antibiotic to at the beginning of the story with exceptionally strong jaws. And so this took some coaxing, but as soon as the jaws were open a few inches, I took the pill between my pointer finger and thumb and my dominant hand, my right hand, and I swiftly pushed it down to the very back of the tongue. I had to get it to the base of the tongue, really kind of down the hatch, if you will. And then pulled out my hand, and as I did, I rubbed his throat a little bit and felt him swallow, and then he licked his lips, and I knew at that point that the mission had been successful. The most common mistake people make in this technique is putting the pill on the tongue, like literally just in the middle of the tongue, and then expecting the dog to swallow it. Even if they hold the dog's mouth shut, which I wouldn't advocate, just expecting that after some amount of time, the dog's going to happily swallow the pill, and that's not the way it works. So typically the dog's going to spit it right out, and they might even wait a couple minutes and then spit it right out. Success depends upon getting the pill as deep as possible in the throat as quickly as possible, and gently, of course. Because certain pills can actually cause damage to the esophagus if left to sit in the throat, I always follow that JAWS technique with the administration of a chaser, whether that be a few treats, just so the dog's swallowing something down, or even syringing some water into the dog's mouth. I just want some swallowing of something else to occur if I've just dry pilled the dog. All right, technique number 5 involves an accomplice, and that's your pharmacist. If all else fails, ask your veterinarian about getting your dog's medications compounded and flavored. Specialty pharmacies, so not the kind at the grocery store or big box stores, can powderize your dog's medication, mix it with a potent flavoring, and provide it to you in a liquid form which you can give orally via syringe or even add to your dog's food. And you can actually have a say in the flavoring. Does your dog love bacon, for example? Well, mention that to your vet. There are several options for flavoring, and you should certainly stack the odds in your favor by expressing your dog's preference if you know it. Okay, so those are 5 techniques for getting medication into your dog. And I say that with an apology, because for 20 years, I thought my hard work was to figure out the absolute best medication to send you home with to help your dog get better. And it never once crossed my mind that once you got home, you had your own hard work to do, which was getting your own version of hard work to do, which was getting the medication in your dog. So kudos to you. Thank you for your effort. And here's an open letter from a veterinarian saying, good job getting those medications in. And if you've struggled at all, here are 5 techniques that may be helpful to you in the future. Again, this was recorded. It'll be on YouTube where I demonstrate the JAWS technique. And if you have any questions or concerns, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can do this. We can help.